Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Legal Tender. I'm back in the building, I'm back in the vault. Pulled out some notes to make a new video. As always, let me thank everybody for supporting the channel. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The subscriptions are going up. I really appreciate that. Tell a friend to like, comment, and subscribe. I love reading the comments. If you're a fan of numismatics, if you're a fan of paper currency, stay rocking with me. Stay rocking with the channel. If you're just getting into the hobby of numismatics, stay rocking with me. Every Tuesday is Legal Tender Tuesday. I'll be making a new episode every week, speaking about something new, different, or interesting within the realm of numismatics. I look forward to the comments. So if you got any comments, put them down in the comments section. Any input, holla at me. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Throughout the video, if I say something that is incorrect or it's a little different from the information you know, fill me in. Put it down in the comments. I'll go back and hit that up, hit the books, make sure that I got the right information moving forward. All right, so with that being said, let's get into today's episode. All right, so today, the notes that I pulled out are of a certain currency type. And the notes that the notes that I pulled out and the notes that I'll be reading are speaking about these notes right here. Federal Reserve notes, green seals. So let's get into it. All right, so the Federal Reserve System, often referred to as the Federal Reserve or simply the Fed, is the central banking system of the United States. It was created on December 23rd, 1913, with the enactment of the Federal Reserve Act. After several financial panics, a desire for central control of the monetary system was created in order to alleviate financial crisis. The Great Depression in the 1930s and the Great Recession during the 2000s are examples for the creation of the Federal Reserve System. Now, with the establishment of the Federal Reserve System, a new type of currency was created. Get in a little bit. All right, and these notes are known as Federal Reserve Bank Notes and Federal Reserve Notes. They were first introduced in 1914. These notes were backed by the U.S. government and the 12 Federal Reserve banks. These notes were printed in the following denominations: 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, and $50 notes. Now this currency is not based on any gold or silver standard, and I'll speak about that in a moment, what a gold and silver standard is. But Federal Reserve notes are not backed by any commodity. And the Treasury seal color found on these notes are blue, like we see right there. But on this episode, we ain't speaking about blue notes. We're speaking about green notes. All right, so as we get into these Federal Reserve notes even more, even though you had the Federal Reserve note from back in the day, had the blue seals, let's talk about the green seals. So these Federal Reserve notes form the largest contemporary United States currency and are the only types of notes issued in today's currency system. The green Treasury seal notes were first printed in series year 1928 in the following denominations: 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, 500, 1,000, 5,000, and a $10,000 note, with the $1 note first being printed in 1963. All right, so unlike the silver and gold certificates, and I said I'll speak about that. So silver certificates and gold certificates are two completely separate things. The value of those notes have intrinsic value. What I mean by that is you could get a handful of silver and there is a dollar amount that is tied to that precious metal based on the weight. Same thing for gold. If you got a handful of gold based on the grams, you put that on the scale, you could put a dollar value to that handful of gold. With a Federal Reserve note, there is no intrinsic value with that. You have something that's called faith in government. So the faith in government is when they say a paper has a value of this, you just have to take the word of the government that whoever receives that note honors that statement from the government. So an example would be, so this $1 bill, there is nothing that is backing this $1 bill except the government saying that this piece of paper is worth $1. So, and that is called fiat money, and I'll speak about that in a second. All right, so like I was saying, unlike silver and gold certificates, Federal Reserve notes hold no intrinsic value. Federal Reserve notes are backed by fiat money, and fiat money is a type of currency that is not backed by a commodity such as gold or silver. It is typically designated by the issuing government to be legal tender. Fiat money is generally authorized by government regulation. Again, it's what they call faith in government. So with these notes that are pulled out, the government is saying this paper is worth $1. And these are the Federal Reserve notes that I got. I got a one. I'll speak about this in a second. This is a legal tender note, a United States note. This note was issued directly from the U.S. Treasury. And if I could read the obligation, it says the United States will pay to the bearer on demand $2. So a United States note, it falls within the category of a Federal Reserve note because there is no intrinsic value behind this note as well. It's just the government saying that it's worth $2. This paper is worth $2. All right. Carrying on. All right. 2, 5, 10, 20, 50, and 100. Now, it's a couple bills that's missing. Like the 500,000, 5,000, and the $10,000 note. And pulling out those notes, that's all visual aids because my pockets ain't that deep. But I got a couple of high dollar notes. I just didn't pull them out. So that's fiat money. Fiat money, again, is just faith in government. If they say that it's worth X amount of dollars, you just got to take the word of the government that that statement will be honored by whoever receives that note. Okay, so with the green seals, there are two seals on the obverse of a Federal Reserve note. You got one to the left of the portrait and one to the right of the portrait. And the seals are a black circular seal that has the numeral of the issuing Federal Reserve Bank to the left of the portrait. Now, these notes were first printed with series year 1928 until 1928A. So there are 12 Federal Reserve banks. And I did an episode speaking about the 12 Federal Reserve banks and the 12 Federal Reserve districts. So this numeral right here states that it identifies that this bill came from this Federal Reserve district. And that was from 1928 until 1928A of the series year, how it was printed down there. Now those notes transition with the next series year 1928B. And there it done transition from a numeral to a letter. So with the letter, in that numeral, now we have the alphanumeric code that identifies that district and that bank. The letter of the issuing Federal Reserve Bank first started with series year 1928B. And then they transitioned again. Now, the issuing Federal Reserve Bank with this note changed with series year 1996, and that was the introduction of the monochrome series. Now, if you look at all three of these notes, all right, so right here we have the numeral. We got 1, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 5 numerals right here. And this, again, like I said, this is the 7th Federal Reserve District that tells where this note came from. 1928B, we have the introduction of the alphanumeric code, and it's still the same thing, with B being the second alphabet, and this alphanumeric code is B2, but the B identifies that it comes from the Federal Reserve District, and the Federal Reserve Bank in that district is New York. Now here, if you could zoom in a little bit. Still need a production team. All right, so right here we have a federal and an all-encompassing seal. And this right here, it doesn't break down each individual Federal Reserve district or bank. It just identifies, this seal right here identifies the entirety of the Federal Reserve System. But to the left of the seal, you can still identify which district or bank this note came from. So the clues, the identifying features to identify which district the note came from can still be found on these newer notes of 1996 to current day. All right, so now the Treasury seals. The Treasury seal can be found to the left of the note. So right here we have the Federal Reserve Bank identifier, and to the right we have the green seal, and that is the Treasury seal to the right of the portrait. All right, so now the Treasury seal, as we see here, it has a couple images within this circular design. So the Treasury seal includes a chevron with 13 stars that represent the original 13 states or 13 colonies. It has a chevron. No, I just said that. It has a chevron with 13 stars that identify the 13 states or colonies. Above the chevron, you have balancing scales that represent justice. And below the chevron, you have a key that represents authority and trust. Now, the image of the Treasury seal that you see right now is of a newer design, and that started with series year 1966. From to 1966, this is the Treasury seal that you can find on older notes. Now, they have some of the same similarities and characteristics. It is within a circular design, but this has a rigid circular design that envelops the shield and the symbols on it. And you still got a shield. You have the scales up top that represent justice, the chevron, 13 stars, 13 states. And below that chevron, you have a key for authority and trust. But what you have on the older Treasury seal is more of a floral design within the shield. And the biggest thing that stands out is the Latin that surrounds the shield and is on the outside of the circle of the rigid circular design. Now, on the newer Treasury seal that started with series year 1966, still same emblems, the scales, chevron, stars, the key. But now you have Um, no Latin going around the shield. It's a smoother circular design, no ridges, and it has the Department of the Treasury in a year, and that year represents the year that the Department of the Treasury was established, and that is on the newer Treasury seal. Well, like I say, let's start with series year 1966, and can be found right there to the right of the portrait. Oh, here we go. Check this out. All right, so this is series year 1966. The new Treasury seal came into play with this is 1963. The new Treasury seal came into play in 1966. So, oh, it's a bar note. Now you can see the Latin around this seal. If I can make it zoom in any more, I would, but this is the best we got. So you can see the Latin wording around it. And the big indicator is the ridges around the seal. So let's look at the rest of them. So that's on the 1. 95. Still got the ridges. But as clear as day, you can see Latin words on this. It's mostly predominant on this septum word, as opposed to the Department of the Treasury. You see it as clear as day. And you can see the year down at the bottom. No year right though. So what else we got? All right, so that's the 1 with the old seal. Newer seal with the 2. The 8. Yeah, all newer seals right here. A direct indicator is the series year 95. All right, so I got one note out of this pile right here with the old green Treasury seal. All right, so starting with series year 1928, all Federal Reserve notes were printed with a green Treasury seal. And also, all Federal Reserve notes have a green seal and green serial numbers. And that all started with series year 1928. All right, so let's look at the fun facts. All right, so these seals or notes are the only ones authorized to be printed and issued from the U.S. Treasury as of, well, not as of today, but yeah, current day, the only currency you will find in circulation are Federal Reserve notes. But old currency is still accepted. Silver certificates, gold certificates, and United States notes. And also, when U.S. currency was changed to its current size in 1928, the $2 bill was redesigned and issued as a United States note. Production continued until 1966. All right, so when the notes got reduced in size, the $2 bill was issued as a United States note. And we can see it up top, United States note. and they was printed until 1966, when the United States notes were phased out and the $2 denomination was discontinued until 1976, when it was reissued as a Federal Reserve note. So I got an episode speaking about United States notes. So check that out. So they started off with red seals, United States notes, until 1966, where all United States notes got phased out. But the $2 bill came back as a Federal Reserve note. And also the design on the back of the note was different. And I'll show that in a minute. So checking out the currency type, you got a Federal Reserve note right here, United States note right there. Same portrait. The lighting is wacky. Again, I apologize. Some differences with these notes. No seal right there. Well, we got a seal here, no seal right there. Same portrait. The Treasury seals are different colors. Now on the back of the note, start with this one. You have an image of Monticello, and this is, well, this was the home of Thomas Jefferson. But on this Federal Reserve note, turn that over. They both still $2 denominations, but the image is different. A rendition of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. $2 note. So yeah, the $2 bill is the only bill that started off as one currency, got phased out and reinstituted as a Federal Reserve note. The first denomination that was printed in 1928 Federal Reserve note, well, the lowest denomination printed as a Federal Reserve note was the $5 bill. Not the $1 bill, the $5 bill. The notes printed was the 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, 500, 1,000, 5,000, and $10,000 note as Federal Reserve notes, with the $1 bill first being printed as a Federal Reserve note with in the year of 1963, with the series year of 1963. So those are your green seals. All right. So that's all we got for this one. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to like, comment, subscribe. Hit me up in the comments. I love reading your input and your feedback. And until next time, keep it legal, keep it tender. Talk to you soon.